Hi, this is my 5-minute presentation from the annual research conference 2022, How to Turn Green in the European Way, which was taking place on September 20 and 21st. The presentation title is European Solidarity Mechanism, which is what I want to explain to you. So we have a problem in the Eurozone. So the European treaties, they stress very much the sustainability of public finances or fiscal sustainability. It's a problem because it's never really defined what that actually means. So how to ensure public finances is very open to debate. Greening the economy demands large public investments in infrastructure, which are too risky for the private sector. So it has to be done by the public sector because the private sector is basically saying it's too risky for me. We don't know where the prices will be. We don't know where the profits are. So we leave it to the governments to do that. However, increasing government spending will increase tax revenues, which is good. So it will not lead to very large deficits, but it is kind of likely that somehow excessive public deficits will result and also higher public debt, at least in the short term. Later, there might be a crowding in so that private investment goes up, which means that there will also be more tax revenues, leading to the public sector maybe going from deficit to surplus, but we don't know that. So the big question is, can we ensure that public debt in the Eurozone is always sustainable? And the answer is yes, we can. The ECB, as a monopoly currency issuer, can promise to buy all government bonds it is offered at market prices. And it just pays by crediting the accounts of banks, just like it did with quantitative easing and with the asset purchase programs that are selling the government bonds. This would remove all speculation from the Eurozone's bond market and ensure liquidity, I mean access to funding, and solvency, stable bond prices for all national governments, which is very important, not only in times of crisis. National governments could then play their part when it comes to greening the economy and increase government spending. So the advantages of this policy, there's no changes in European treaties needed, also no bailout. So this is true to the treaties, to the letters that were put there, to the idea that there would be no bailout. It would also replace the pandemic emergency purchase program and the new transmission protocol instrument, transmission protection instrument. So this would be a continuation of policies that are already in place and that have been in place for about 10 years, I would think, since Mario Draghi said, whatever it takes. There's also no costs for European citizens, so we don't need to increase taxes. All the government bonds that will be paid, that will be bought by the ECB, will be paid for by money creation by the ECB. So there's no need to increase taxes. It also strengthens the European Union's Green Deal. So if you want to be serious about that, it's better that national governments can act and can spend large amounts of money. It makes things much easier. And they still would have to coordinate on a European level if that is wanted, and I think it's warranted for sure. So for that, the European government bonds are also more attractive, which means that the exchange rate appreciates, there will be less inflation. Okay, so investors don't see any more risk of devaluation or risk of the denomination. So that means the government bonds will be higher priced, no more risk of default. And that means there will be a higher euro, and that means currently less inflation, which is a good thing right now. Might be a bad thing at some other point in time, like 2 years ago when we had very low inflation rates, but now would be definitely an advantage. And it's also a normalization, so the Eurozone becomes more like other currency areas. The United Kingdom, just yesterday, the Bank of England acted as a dealer of last resort, stabilizing financial markets, stabilizing the bond prices of the British government. Disadvantages, well, the Stability and Growth Pact, with its deficit limits, it still potentially is in the way of higher government spending. But the reform of the fiscal framework is something which we are planning to do anyway, and then it must address the question how much government spending would be permitted. So these are two different questions. One question is how much should the government spend as a maximum, and the other one is about the sustainability of public debt. So I only address the question here of public debt sustainability. This is what the European Solidarity Mechanism is about. And then you would have to think about how much governments should be able to spend by reforming the fiscal framework in the Eurozone. So to conclude, the European Solidarity Mechanism ensures solvency of national governments. There won't be any speculation. There will be a better exchange rate and hence permanently lower inflation. The deficit limits still apply. And the focus can then shift to more important questions like how can we green the economy the European way instead of being concerned about the sustainability of public debt. That would be, I think, a big step forward. So I would be very happy if you would consider this proposal. If you have any questions or comments, please send them to my email address, which you can find down below. Thank you very much.